So this is going to be a deviation from a normal episode. This is going to be a quick overview and tutorial for Bugelmeister especially, so that he can, you know, learn his way around the UI a little bit better. So we'll just quickly go through everything. To make a new base, you click the Build New Base button right up here at the top, and it'll give you an option to build a new base somewhere. So for example, like here in Hawaii. And then you gotta pick a position for your axis lift here, and then there you go. Now you got a new base. All right. To switch to another base, you just click on them at the top here. In order to remove a base structure from your base, all you need to do is click on the base structure that that you want to remove with, you know, left click. But if the base structure is in use, it will bring up this screen saying facility is in use, and you can't dismantle it until you remove what it is that's in it that's being used. However, this structure right here has no inventory or whatnot that it needs to supply, so for example I can dismantle this one. So in order to dismantle it, all I need to do is click OK, and now the base structure is dismantled and disappeared. Also, base structures that are dependent on other base structures cannot be dismantled. Let's see if I can find an example. This one probably would be a good example. See, cannot dismantle facility. All base facilities must be linked to the axis lift, and it's because of this one that's being currently built, which you can then which you can also dismantle. That right there, that's a dependency, so you can't dismantle things that have a dependency. So to equip a tank to one of your Sky Rangers, that's an equipment here, and it'll be on the very top. You see here, I got two types of tanks, a plasma launching hover tank and a rocket launcher tank. If I want to switch to the hover tank, I do this. Notice how it, when I take it off, it subtracts space used. This space used is actually, has nothing to do with any of these other things, only has to do with the tanks. Because no matter what I do for any of these, it won't tell me. Those numbers is a hidden number, where the maximum item limit is. That's a hidden number that it won't actually tell you until it brings up that screen. Well, it says 80 right here, obviously, but it's not going to tell you how many you have unless you add them all up. But these numbers here are for the tanks. And notice I can't put this tank on because space used is 14 and space available is 0. That number comes from your crew, actually. What this number means is how many spaces there are, how many tiles there are open in the Sky Ranger. So this means, you know, that all 14 tiles are occupied by a unit of some kind, either a tank or a soldier. To equip you guys with armor, yeah, you do go here, and then you click on them, and you can either select none, which will get rid of it, or if you have armor in your inventory, which will be in your general stores, you'll click on that, and you'll have equipped the power suit that way, or personal armor, or whatever. You can also equip armor from the soldiers screen. All you need to do is click on them and click on this armor button here, and that allows you to individually assign armor to soldiers, even soldiers that are not currently in the Sky Ranger. This is a thing that you need to win the game, just so you know, which looks like this when you build it. This is also another research project you need to research to win the game, just so you know. You can see active transfers between your bases by clicking on this button here. This will tell you what is coming to this base and how long it's going to take you to get there. You can also switch to looking at the different bases from up here as well. Also, you can click on this button, which will tell you how much everything in the base costs per month, and it will deduct it from your income, and which is this income right here. It will deduct from this income number, which you can also see on the funding tab, and you can actually get an actual number here. Yeah, this just tells you how much, and this will tell you how much each country is giving you per month. And if a country is not, if a country drops out, this number will turn to 0, and then you'll know that that country is no longer funding you. This number, if it's 0, it means that they were somewhat displeased with you last month, and so chose not to increase your funding. If you did poorly in a certain country, like very poorly, they can in fact decrease your funding. They usually won't do this, and will usually instead just opt to drop out entirely. In order to intercept a craft, you can either click here on your base, and it will bring up the list of all of your craft only in that base that are either out or ready, or refueling, or rearming, actually. Or you can click the intercept button here, which will give you a list of all of your craft. This graph will tell you how much alien activity there is in each individual region, based on a monthly progression, starting from, what is it, 12 months ago to now. This one will tell you how much money there is in each, not how much money, sorry, how much alien activity there is in each funding country. These two tell you about XCOM activity in the individual countries, which really isn't that useful of information. And also this one is known to bug out because it's impossible to have negative XCOM activity in any country. It can only go to 0. Here's your income, another source of your income graph that you can see where all of your individual funders are. And then this score number here on this graph is also another incredibly useful number, because if at the end of any month this line is below 0, then you're losing. And if it's below 0 for 2 months in a row, then you lose the game entirely. All the funding countries will drop out simultaneously, and you'll get a game over screen if you have a negative score 2 months in a row. This is your UFOpedia, which just gives you a list of all of the things that you have researched, basically. Whether that's spaceships and weapons, or artifacts from aliens, or base structures, or things like random alien research, such as this, which really doesn't actually serve any purpose. But you can research those anyway, even though they don't really give you a whole lot of benefit. Especially this one doesn't give you much benefit at all. That's a research project. Okay, so also, in order to manufacture things, or to produce things that you have researched, you go to the manufacture page here, and go to new production, and there will be a list of all the things that you can build. Some of these things will not require any resources except money, such as laser weapons. You can start production on those, allocate engineers. I don't have any engineers in this space, but you can allocate however many you want, and then you got your project already set. Just press stop production to get rid of it. However, there are also many production projects that require additional resources, such as alien grenades here, which, as you notice, require Illyrium, which will tell you how many it requires per grenade. So, what this means is that each individual alien grenade will require 2 units of Illyrium, and this is just how many you have in the base. Also, if you have soldiers that are not dead but injured, they'll show up here in the wounded page, and in order to figure out how long it'll take for them to recover from their injury, you just click on their name and it'll show you right there. So yeah, this guy's going to take 42 days to recover from his injuries, which is a very long time. Most injuries are going to be more like 2 weeks, like this guy. And if you have any additional questions about Geoscape stuff, I don't know, just ask me, Tom. So next I'm going to go through some of the stuff in the battle mode. Now I'm pretty sure most of the stuff here is a little bit easier to figure out and is a little bit more self-explanatory, but I'll go through it anyway. Okay, so yeah, this button allows you guys to use up all their time units. This one saves for snapshot, this one saves for aim shot, this one saves for auto shot, but you already knew that. This moves your guys up or down if they are in an elevator, which this is an elevator right here. This, as you know, moves up and down the levels. And also, I may or may not have said, but there is no hotkey for any of these buttons at all. No hotkeys. you can reach your guy's inventory with this button here. To unload a weapon, you put it there. You just pick it up and then drop it there. But he doesn't have enough time in it to unload his weapon anyway. So what'll happen is it'll put the clip in his other hand. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how the med kit works too. So this guy's got a med kit. Pop it in his hand. Make him face somebody who needs healing. This guy doesn't, but we're going to have him, we're going to use the medkit on him anyway. You can still do that. Also, if you have a guy laying on the ground dead, or unconscious actually, sorry, if they're dead, then there's nothing the medkit can do for them. But if they're unconscious, which I don't see any of my own guys unconscious anywhere, but if they were unconscious, what you would do is you would stand on top of them to use the medkit. Not in front of them, on top of them. So to use a medkit on another guy, you have to face them. So, notice how he's facing him. Or Lester, essentially, is facing Igor. So then you will use the medkit just by clicking on it. And use medkit, which will bring up this screen here. You can use heal, which what that does is, if you notice that any of these body sections are red, that means that he's received a fatal wound in that area and will lose hit points every turn if you don't heal it. Then what you do is you click on the section and you use the heal thing, which you can totally do that even when there's nothing wrong. Stimulants will recover some of their stamina. And painkillers will do other things to assist them. Painkillers will improve it'll bring their morale back up, if I'm not mistaken. This centers your view on the guy who's selected. This, as you know, moves it between the different guys. This cancels the guy from the selection. This button right here, what it does is it makes it so that regardless of what level you're on, you will always see the roof, and no roofs will be opaque at all. Basically, this is cross-section mode. This is top-down mode. To be perfectly frank, this mode isn't that useful at all, but it does give you a good way of. It does allow you to look at the map more effectively. So sometimes in city maps, if something appears to be slightly confusing, which occasionally happens, or also like generally if you're in a desert too, where there's very large sand dunes, it's generally better to just turn this on, because sometimes the sand dunes will get so tall that they'll be higher than a single block. They'll be higher than an entire block itself. So then what will happen is if a guy or an alien walks on top of a sand dune, they'll be invisible to you, at least, if you have it like this. And the only way you'll be able to see them is with the little red alien spotted button in the bottom right corner. And then you also have your options, which, this is scroll speed, which just changes how fast you scroll on the edge of the map. These are the two different types of scrolls. Auto scroll is when you touch the edge of the map. Trigger scroll is one that nobody ever uses because it locks you to the screen, but what you do have to do then, I believe, is I forget exactly how this one works. Yeah, I don't remember how it works. But it's a very old school type of thing that is kind of dumb, and I don't think modern mouses have the button that's required for that anyway. Fire speed, movement speed, and fire speed and these movement speeds, they determine how quickly the animations occur in the game. Fire speed, how quickly shots will fly through the air. XCOM movement speed, how quickly your guys will walk. And alien movement speed, how long it'll take for aliens to move across the screen. While setting these to higher numbers, will allow the animations to be faster, so that you spend less time in the animations. The issue that you'll have is that or that you won't be able to see what actually occurred. Generally, you can put this to whatever you want, and it won't really matter that much, because you kind of know what you're doing anyway. This one, it's a really good idea to set it to 3 or less, so you can see where the aliens are moving. Same thing with fire speed, so you can see where the aliens are shooting from. Really important to have these set low, to at least 3 or less, so that you can actually see what's going on.